This past week, Brandon Sanderson and team launched what has become the most successful Kickstarter of all time, raising over $24 million in 5 days. It turns out, over the past 2 years, Sanderson wrote not 1 or even 2, but 5 extra novels while keeping up with his other writing projects. Naturally, being the fan that I am, I backed this project. Like, right away. But whether you did or not, it is proof of just how productive Sanderson is. Hey there, I'm Kelly. I'm a father of 6, full-time software developer at Rescue Time, and Dean of Digital Campus at Signum University. On this channel, I like to talk about getting more done in less time so that you can do more of what you love outside of work. One of those loves of mine is reading Sanderson. Whether that's true of you or not, it's hard to argue that he's not a productive person. I mean, come on! 5 accidental novels over the past couple of years on top of the books he was already writing in public? How is that possible? Well, over the past year that I've become a big fan, I've listened to many hours of podcasts with Brandon on it, and what follows are the top 7 tips that I've taken away from Brandon Sanderson whenever he talks about productivity. First up are dedicated writing sessions. Brandon is famously a night owl, often rising at noon or 1 in the afternoon and going to bed around 4 a.m. Now, being an early riser myself, I'm not saying that is the pattern you should follow. It probably wouldn't work for most of us. But what's interesting is how he's partitioned his day to make the most use of the time that he is awake. This boils down to 2 4-hour writing blocks, one shortly after he wakes from 1 to 5, the other late in the evening from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. He claims that a 4-hour time block is the most efficient amount of time for him. It gives him a couple of hours to get fully into the swing of things, and then about 2 hours to do intense writing, which is about his limit before things start to go downhill. I do something very similar with my own schedule, though I tend to prefer a 2 to 3 hour block of time for coding work, and my blocks happen between 5 and 8 a.m. and 10 and noon. The important thing is to find a block of time that works for you and dedicate that time to your craft. Jealously guard it. But it goes one step further than that. Brandon also blocks off time to spend with his family. And this is tip number 2, schedule family time. From 5 to 10 p.m., he is in full family mode. If you're anything like me, you know how hard it is to be mentally present with your family when you work from home. Walking from one room to the next leaves you no time to decompress or let go of work thoughts, and there's always the possibility of doing more work. Having scheduled family time serves dual purposes. First, it ensures that he's doing something important to him every day, spending time with his family. Secondly, he's found that having this schedule allows him to lay aside work thoughts easier so that he'll be more present when he's with his family, with the knowledge that he'll be able to pick up his writing in his second session of the day. The third and final major block type of Brandon's day is from 2 to 4 a.m., right before bed. He reserves this time for personal time. And so that's tip number 3, schedule personal time. For Brandon, it's a time that he can goof off, pursue hobbies, or just have some fun. The relaxation benefits of this are obvious, but what I found interesting is that Brandon says it also helps keep him in check. It holds him accountable to make sure that he doesn't overdo it, which makes complete sense to me. I get easily obsessed and addicted to things, which is why I've mostly stayed away from video games for the past 12 years. I can't count the number of times I've picked up a book to take a short reading break during the workday, only to find myself still reading late into the night. This leaves me miserable because I know I put off things that I wanted to have done. Brandon's personal time block at the end of his day allows him to enjoy things by giving him the time he needs, but not enough to overdose. Which brings us to tip number 4, batch non-productive work. You may be wondering about all the other non-writing work that Sanderson has to do, things that are less productive than his core task of writing. Well, that's what Thursdays are for. Brandon batches all non-productive or non-writing work on Thursdays. This serves dual purposes. Firstly, it once again jealously guards his writing time on the other days. But it also forces him to limit the other engagements he can commit to. If those can only happen on Thursday, there's only so many press events, calls, fan meetings he can do. So think about this for you. What other non-core work can you batch together to really protect that core work time? Which leads us to point 5. Say no. You cannot say yes to everything. Trust me, I've really tried. There's just not enough time for it. If you have a driving purpose in life, such as writing for Sanderson, you have to learn to say no to a bunch of other things. And finally, tips 6 and 7, which go hand in hand: organization and discipline. According to Sanderson, most people are missing a good structure for long-term productivity. Sure, binging may work for a time, but it's not sustainable for the long haul. Brandon's put together a solid organization system that helps him stay productive, most of which I've talked about already, and he has the discipline to stick with it. If you ask Brandon, he doesn't call himself a fast writer, which is something that I, as a reader, look at and really start to question. What he does say, though, is that he's a consistent writer. He writes a little bit, but he writes a little bit every single day. 2,000 words is his goal. He set up a lifestyle and routine that allows him to eliminate distractions to meet those goals. Furthermore, he doesn't wait for inspiration to hit. He sits down and forces himself to write, even if he doesn't feel like it. This seems to be the crux of Brandon's productivity. Slow and steady. Consistently making every day happy as you go. Not putting off happiness for an undetermined future date, but being happy now through good work-life balance and a structured routine, and having the discipline to stick with it. As I record this video, there are still 25 days left in Brandon's Kickstarter, and so check it out if you're interested in backing and joining me along for 2023, the year of Sanderson. I am so incredibly excited for that. If you found this video helpful, please let me know in the comments down below. Otherwise, till next time, bye. Alright, so I think that the new audio recorder actually sent a tone to the camera, so let's see if this works this time. Not sure if we can hear the background noise or not. I'm going to redo that to make it more clear.